Ross, thanks as always for your time on AFL.com.au.
Yeah, it's nice to be here, Damo. Like sitting in the chair, like we're all got a bullet floating around, haven't we?
It's out there somewhere. When's it going to land?
Well, eventually. It's landed once. I think it would just graze me for. I was in ICU for 3 years and got out.
Got patched up and you go again.
Yeah. It's a very privileged position. Very,
you've always said that about
the
the roles.
Like we're like all of us, really. Like when you see like some of the challenges out there in the community, it's a privileged position.
Yeah. So season 2026, who have we got? Have we got cuddly Ross still, or is it?
Well, it depends what,
or a bit more intense Ross.
Well, it depends what questions you pose. I can be all. I can bring lots of different weather, as we all can, right?
But you volunteered it a couple of years ago.
Well, really, I come in and it's really there's a few pertinent things in that question. So I come in the back of a review. And the players really, the review a consistency for a psychologically safe environment. So you can be sharp, but a consistency in process of review and preview and coaching and a levelness. And like on all the feedback, we feel like we did that in that period, and then really over the last 2 years there have been some really challenging times, and the team's always fought out to the end, and after 10 losses, we were flat. I mean, you want to win, but we kept a real leverness and a safety, and as we transitioned our list from 5th oldest, not playing finals, and really contract variations into the next year, to a youngish list, and our salary cap in order, and so there was some challenge, but I felt overall I was able to maintain that. But all of us, players and coaches and fans, we'd like to have that winning feeling where your self-image is strong and you've got a bit of strut around town. So that's the aim, to get back to that.
So not as much cuddly Ross this year?
No, I achieved it being cuddly Ross, to be honest, but at the right time. And I always support the person. Like if you think Brad Hill, he'd so close to him on a care level, but I can support him and really challenge him. He's 3 kilos lighter, needs to grab his spot, he played really well. So there's always support and care, and then everyone talks about connection, but that's that social capital. If they know it's not personal and it's about action, and they do understand their life and different challenges. And I did a talk the other day, like, we're not all apples, or you're not all equal, but we can treat you fairly. So, and I went through, everyone got treated a little bit differently in that room on that day, whether it be training. But the easy thing is to say, well, you're all equal. And then everyone just trains all the time, and everyone. So that's always there, balancing up the human side versus the organisational objectives. And I think over time, as you get older and experience, you tend to let the smaller stuff, I might maybe sweat it in 9 and 10 and probably at the Dockers to now. So a long-winded answer, I feel like I'm the same. I am more energetic, I'm healthier, I've had another hip replacement that really curtailed me in a lot of personal ways last year. So, if you think sleep and exercise and all those things and feeling healthier contributes to you bringing better weather, I feel like I'm doing that. I feel like I'm more on the tools in a sense than I was in leading, with more energy. At times I was like, wow, so, but without, so I was fine, but I'm in good mental shape and physically no pain.
You mentioned another hip. Have you had both hips done, have you?
Yeah, both hips.
Both replaced?
And knee, yeah.
And knee replacement as well?
Yeah, so it's like, not without.
It's all major surgery and it's in isolation.
Yeah, in 19 I had the hip replacement at the Dockers. I probably pushed a bit hard. That was solid. Hips are like a corky, to be honest. Like, they're pretty easy. Like, you're in, you're out, day and a half, crutches, your rehab. But once you get rid of pain, like, everything just falls into line. I thought there's a lot of charities out there, but there's a lot of people that can't afford hips, and maybe that's my space, helping those people.
Yep. The changes you've made, Ross, we'll touch on the specifics at some stage in the next few moments, but are the foundations now set in your eyes? Now, when I say foundations, is this the beginning of the second phase, set for success? Now, whatever that looks like, but Are you now set? Is there a line drawn on maybe the 3 years you've had to this point, and this is part 2 of this second stage of the St Kilda journey?
Well, there's a lot of data sets that can answer that question fully. Really simply, I didn't know what we were walking into, and then we just processed what was in front of us. And 23 was the past, but it was a really good year in the context of I inherited the 5th oldest list in the competition. A lot of them were injured. So in that year, players that were 21 and under, like it was Owens and Nazai was his second year, and Phillip was his first year. And we go through, there was, I think it was 150 games in total. No one had done that in 15 years and played finals. The ones to do it next were Hawthorn. And they actually, we might have been 130 and they had 150. And then they went on with it the next year. So we went, wow, once we had a look at our profile, we're old, really cap breaming or whatever variations, and winning 9 and 10 games a year on 2 years in a row. So we were like, then you do the analytics and well, let's continue down the path, go to the draft. And then ultimately out of that, there was a lot of salary cap room that just accumulated. And you do have to pay 95% a year. So like this year we were 80%, but then by October 31, you're 95% because you bring Naz's money forward and you bring his money. So we've been in that.
You ever put a number publicly on what it is you've already covered this year? Is it
Well, I could
is it
say
beyond
exactly,
2
but
million? Is it?
in really simple terms, it's like 20%.
Yeah. So that would suggest to me you've got room to do this again at the
Well,
end
no,
of
I
this
don't
year.
know about that, but it got room to, I mean, don't suggest, we're able to pay our players, recontract our players, keep our players,
Get some in.
upgrade our players and get 2 free agents in. That's been a challenge for Melbourne clubs. And trade for quality players. So, and we still went to the draft. The simple answer is we expect to be better and more competitive because of those 4 players really help our age profile, but we're still mid-table. And I wouldn't have thought it was a 3-year perfect turnaround. I don't think that's been done anywhere. So we're trying, but we expect, and the aim is, which it is every year. In 23 it was to play finals. In 24 it was. So, you know, feel like the strategy is alive and breathing. And I really like, because someone asked me that question, I was like, well, really simply, Geelong talk about we want to give our players the best environment and improve our list as much as we can and coach them as well as we can to give them the best chance for success. So clearly their inputs have been really good. And that's the simple model we're trying to achieve. So we've certainly got a good coaching panel. Our list has been reinvigorated and added to. I don't think it's a finished product. I think that's an easy argument to mount. But we want to win lots of games of footy. In football operations, like Lenny, we can obviously get to that, and Chris Ford have been enormous appointments, personally great. So there's some good foundations, but building the Strength Through Loyalty Academy, building out our NGA Academy, the connection, our past players, the social capital of the club, our benefactors come in and support and donate to the club. That's a work in progress, but where it was 3 years ago to where it is now, we've got clear strategies. Build the list, build best coaching, build social capital, bring our partners along, engage our fans. Like, it's very clear, engage. I think we learned a lot out of the battle. There were some holes for family and partnering. It was solid, but it wasn't top of the pops. Like, I didn't even know 12 months in we didn't have a Croatia. We had a Croatia when we left in 09. I was like, wow. So all those little things that you make some assumptions even that they're there. So we've built out clear strategies to keep building on. And when I referenced Geelong, I just want to be really clear on that. That's a model we aspire to be, like get the best people, get the best list, and an environment where people improve and they play. It wasn't a jab or anything. It was like we aspire to, like when Carlton's at its best, like it's powerful people supported, engage, great environment, great coaching, and win. You know, that's what that was. You know, so there's some clear, and they're probably a bit more the model because they've been nimble, they've been small, they've been agile, and they've been creative. The Irish experiment, so that's another thing we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, like the good clubs, Brisbane have got Irish, Geelong got Irish, and Sydney, Ty Kennelly and Pike. So you've got to find ways to bring talent through, like Max Hall.
Great story, Max Hall. There's always internal...
I know it was long-winded. But
That's right. There's always internal narratives and there's external narratives. And
yeah, but that's your job,
the way it
right?
works, yeah. The external narrative involved a rival coach the other day when Chris Fagan had some comments to make about...
Oh, what did he say? Just to be clear. No, I'm
Right,
happy
I'll
for you
read
to
it
repeat it.
I'm hoping the numbers that we saw via St Kilda don't become a reality. I saw that as a little bit of a danger to the game, and then I'll just continue it separately. And I'm paraphrasing. I'm not paraphrasing, it's just a wider interview. I think the best players in the competition deserve to be paid the most money, and that's not the case at the moment. Tom De Koning has shown a lot of promise for a long time, but hasn't probably played up to expectations. There's a bit in
Who
that.
said that?
Chris Fagan said that.
Yeah, wow, that's interesting.
You know well,
That's
surely he said
interesting,
that.
yeah.
You hadn't caught up with that, Ross?
No, I knew, but I don't go to bed thinking about it. But I'm glad you could paraphrase it.
No, they're direct quotes as part of a
Yeah,
wider...
they're direct. Like, I could be wrong, but in my 13 years of senior coach, I don't think I've ever commented on a specific opposition player in a derogatory sense. So, but I can't control what other people do. I can only control what I do. I'm aware that our CEO responded in, not to Chris, but in general terms about the market dictates, and that the coin's flipped. It was the northern states that... you know what's really ironic? Tony Lockett, Barry Hall, getting paid whatever percentage of the salary cap. That's interesting. You know, like, it's interesting, Lockie Neal, who I know really well, and I know the figure he went on when the salary cap was 12.5. So I think you've got to look at percentage terms. Anyone that, once you hear 1.5, 1.7, 1.2, like, we know people offered NAS more money. There's clubs that offered 7 years and more, like, more. So, but I think to look at the quantum, unless you're apples to apples, percentage terms, as a percentage of the salary cap. So the coin's flipped, and then I know Carl spoke to the operating environment dictates the market, and it's supply and demand and restrictions and access to talent. And I think free agency is a really interesting one when it was introduced. I'm not perfect overseas, but I think even the NFL and the NBA don't let them go to the top 4 clubs. But Tom Lynch goes to the reigning premier in the Tigers. When Brisbane's list could be in decline, they're going to get the captain of West Coast and the #1 player from Essendon, free agent. And then arguably have the #1 rated player in the competition, Annabelle, go at what price? I don't know, what was it, pick 40 or something? I don't know.
Probably wasn't a fair...
Well, that's okay, but so without being specific about them...
well, they were specific about you.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's what they choose to do. That's okay. So I thought Carl, I liked his responses because it was to the real problem, which is the operating environment and competitive balance. The success and the rise of the AFL, bear in mind I was around in the 80s when basketball was on top, and why the broadcasters now do what they do and really fund the game is because competitive balance was introduced, drafts, salary cap, and not even equal access to talent. Distributed talent to the clubs on the bottom. And we saw an equal participation, because it was just the big Melbourne clubs, wasn't it? And then we saw an equal participation in finals and winning premierships started to rotate in prelims, nearly all of the clubs. Now, for whatever reason, the AFL has chosen its expansion market to change that competitive balance and prioritise northern development, and the cost of that has been to those that haven't got access to that talent. The data set simply doesn't lie. There's no aggression in it. Here's the data set. If you analyse it, it's indisputable.
So again, I know you're conscious here of trying not to make this Brisbane versus St Kilda.
No, it's not Brisbane. Let it run. They've got 2 premiers.
Yeah, but are you dirty on them getting access to those free agents and the access to the academy kids?
It's never personal. No, nothing personal. It's not just
Are you
Brisbane.
dirty on the system allowing this to happen to the
Dirty's
two-time
a very
premier?
emotive word. What we're saying is we'd like the competitive balance and equity restored.
Yeah, and your club has fought for
Because it's indisputable that's there. But like as a journalist, you should know it and be across the data set. Are you?
that. Well, I feel I am as best you can be.
How do you sum it up?
I don't think it works at all. I'm a big complainer of the free agency system before it was
So there's free
introduced.
agency, there's Northern Academy.
Yeah.
And like Gillon McGlone, who ran the AFL, he said the simplest solution, a pure first round. A pure first round. First 18 peaks, uncompromised. Because we know the data set after that, it gets harder to unearth unique talent. So that'd be easy, wouldn't it? Imagine an uncompromised first round.
Well, we're having
But
27.
then you got another expansion team coming in, which you got to plan and strategies for. So
Then a 20th team probably. Yeah.
yeah, so there's nothing personal, there's nothing dirty, and we just present the data set that tells you it's inequitable.
Removing Brisbane from this, are you now?
Well, you can just dive into Northern Academies, because that's what it is, isn't it? They're state zones,
Yes.
in simple terms.
Yeah, and both the two clubs there have benefited greatly from
Have
those.
they? Yeah, it looks that way.
Well, yeah, which is good
But
for
that's
the game.
okay. So if we were given those rules, we would harvest as best we can and we would fight for them. The data sets don't lie. Andrew was a first mover and now he's getting plenty of support, in fairness. If the inequity stays that long, I think conceivably there'd be a legal challenge from a number of clubs that are disaffected. And I think the AFL know that. That's what I think.
Yeah, so that's pretty strong. Yeah,
Yeah, that's strong.
yeah. Removing Brisbane specifically from this, and I'm really just
Well, I never had him in, you did.
the coach
And to
made
be
some
fair,
comments
I've
about-
never criticised Brisbane.
But you've made
If
some.
you can pull one quote,
You've made some valid points there about the
no, in
inequities
response
in
to
your eyes.
you,
Yeah.
no, in response to Chris Fagan's comments, and I said, I don't look at Brisbane, we look at
The system.
the system. Yeah.
Let's
I
remove.
reckon- Yeah, I'm not sure what Chris's motivations were because really mental health of players is paramount and there's enough and it's very topical and I think as coaches we all cop a fair bit and I know through the AFLCA a lot of, they're really worried about coaches' mental health and challenges. So, I don't know, to weaponise the media is an interesting argument
Did you speak?
on individuals.
Did you speak to Tom de Koning after those comments?
Nah, before they're tough.
Yeah. There's no need to make sure he's like.
Not one line, not a word. Tom wouldn't even blink. It's a business, we ain't getting criticised. It's unusual bit from a rival coach.
Yep. Is there a line in the sand element to what you've done now, Ross? 3 years in, with the recruiting particularly, but on the back of the 3 years, which you've already outlined as to what it was like when you first came back to St Kilda, you get to the start of 2026 and you've added this recruitment element to the
Isn't that what everyone does?
Oh, it's aggressive. I don't think we've seen in the modern era. I think
Hang on. 2 free agents go anywhere. 2 went to Brisbane, the reigning premier.
it's free agents. Yeah, I'm talking about recruiting.
So we got 2 free agents.
Yeah,
And
but
2
you also
trades.
paid 1.7 to get one of them.
I haven't seen the contract, have
haven't
you?
you? You're head.
I haven't seen the
Aren't you
contract.
still head of list management? Aren't you?
No, I work with them, we're collaborative.
You don't know the numbers.
I haven't
though.
seen the contract.
You know the numbers attached. I would have thought.
I can tell you the
I don't want
final
to get caught up in
contract.
semantics here. But I reckon
we
you'd know,
can.
I reckon you'd know the numbers.
I don't know the exact number.
Is it right? You don't know what Tom de Koning.
I know roughly,
Yeah. Right.
but that's tax for Melbourne.
Melbourne, the city
Clubs.
clubs. Yeah.
Melbourne clubs.
Yeah.
And you're a product of your last 12 years of no finals, really. We were fleeting 23, fleeting. And
You were competitive in that final you played.
yeah, no, we were, but fleeting. And I mean, the real season starts in September. Like St Kilda's been there twice, and one was a COVID. And without disrespecting it, like we've been in grand finals, like from '97 through to 2011. There was grand finals and prelims all the way through, but it didn't get done. And the '90s. So, but if you don't get the ultimate prize, so really you're a product. But really, we had to engage with our coaching, put our story of our kids, the environment, and they needed to see that we could be competitive and improve. And they didn't come here thinking we're a one-year wonder and it's a light in the sand and we're all in. That wasn't the sell. Like, we've got a really good young core that you can grow with and be around 8 or 9 years with. I think, and I tell them, you'll see me out. you'll see me out, and hopefully I'm sitting back and you're holding cups up. That's the aim. So it's not a 12-month plan or strategy.
Yeah. Is Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera the best player in the comp?
People ask me who was the greatest player I coached. You can't separate high level and greatness. And out of respect, even if I did have one, like I wouldn't separate Hayes, Rewalt, Pavlich, McFarlane, Mundy, Fife. Like, to me, I like Walters. Yep. So I think, again, it's that, you know, it just talks to the binary. He's the greatest. Like, there's great players everywhere. Nick Dacos. He's an emerging talent, and he's took a lot of pressure, and he emerged. He'll get a lot more challenges this year. He'll get, you know, I don't think fly tags. I don't know. They're system-based. A few teams don't tag, but he'll get a lot of attention. He'll get great players work off him. He'll get buffeted. He'll get verbalised.
Is he as exciting as we've seen after 4 years in the system?
Not as we've seen. I think I've seen a lot of exciting plays. I think he's as exciting as St Kilda's seen for a while. Yeah. I think that's fair to say. And he's high level. And
you love him as a bloke, don't you? That was clear last year.
He's really humble, comes from a great family, easy to coach, mentally strong, but he wants to be great, right? So ultimately, if you're a great player, unless you win cups, you're not elevated, right? Like, to me, Pavlich, if he was in the way he should be spoken about over here should be...
You always said that.
Oh, he's pretty special. So, you know, we need to create... And we're not our strongest link game. Naz can't do it on his own. Even that moment, that Melbourne moment, Naz had 17 teammates on the field running patterns, opening space, kicking, planning, scheming. And he knows that, right? So there's a photo up on our wall, and it's got Rowe, it's got him, but there's Naz, but it's all the roles played. Caminiti's in there, Hill's in there.
On the same photo?
Yeah, in the same
photo. Where have you put that?
So
in the change rooms?
Yeah, as you walk in the door downstairs. So to us, that's symbolic of a belief system that's anything possible and it can be done here. So we broke a record.
Yep.
But the only thing it does, action and teamwork.
Yeah.
And really, Lenny Hose drove that photo, which is driving the culture of what we want.
And you see that when you walk in, do you? Each person.
Yeah, if you went down to the players' interest, Lenny took down a photo of himself with the bandage on which is great because it used to trigger me every day. But that's not about Naz. That's about team, submitting to the team, executing role. But more importantly, possibility mindset and belief system. Because if you walk into Geelong and you're a player, and you walk in to Hawthorn, because they've had recent success, and the Swans, but they broke through the lower belief system. The belief system is theoretically a bit easier to push along. So, but they send people to the moon. We can win a cup. But we're fighting in a system. We've had to be aggressive. And there was a St Kilda tax. And it helped fortify our list. And there's a bit to be excited about, but there's a lot of hard work. And we can't, well, you know, I know, we know what it's like. You've got to write your own story. We've got to do the work. There's a bit of frothiness out there, I get it, but I'm very pragmatic and practical and stay in the process and action space. So it's nearly every coach in the AFL would talk about, I would think. You know.
Pragmatic and practical, you are. And you've recently, we're talking in a period of time where you've recently announced Cal Wilkie as a co-captain of the club alongside Jack Sinclair. Now, it was a very widely publicised narrative last year that he was exploring his own options as players were potentially coming in. Clearly, footy clubs in 2025 and 2026 have a different view to what they may have once had. Can you outline as to why he's still the main man or equal main man to be the leader of this club despite exploring his own options as recently as 6 months ago?
You can't skip over exploring that. This is really simple. Like, there's, like, even if you're Cal, like, you look at the facts and pragmatic. Like, I'm getting older. They've executed 26 players, and a lot of them were old and coming out of contract. I got a contract for 2 years, another 2 years I'm going to be out. I'm not sure how I'm travelling. I got someone, so there's leverage, but he had no leverage because we told him there's not a world where we trade you. So I wasn't, you know, and he did ring me that time when the first time there was stuff coming out. He goes, I don't want to go anywhere. That was just before that when I went in to, Caro's show, I forget the name of it, to announce Naz. It had been announced. He rang me. He goes, I don't want to go anywhere. I love St Kilda. So there was no stress. It's all a bit of the theatre in the game. Really, you sign a contract with God. There wasn't a world where I was trading Callum. So, I mean, you could speak to 13 clubs, but we're not hanging a shingle out here. We'll be walked over. So, But did we need to come to the party and we had room, and he knew we had room because we'd shared the truth. And but I really admire his story and Sinclair's story as well, you know, so of rookie lists, you know, Cal was taken later, a grind. They've got a real grit and determination about them and they've experienced the highs and lows of AFL footy that we think as a complementary. They're both significantly different personalities, but the real weighting went to game day performance and leadership. There's the Monday to Friday, but ultimately you've got to stand up game day. Yeah. And you've got to be able to lead and problem solve game day. And they're two of our best at that. Yep. So the players it's a player vote. And they both had a chat and worked out, yeah, this will work for us. And we're like, yeah, we're all in. So there's been 62 captains at St Kilda. So they'll be the 63 and 64. If you think we've been around, what, 150 years, is it? Is that the right figure? 152. It's pretty humbling. Yep. Rewald, Harvey, yep. Baldock. Yep. It's pretty humbling for them, and we think they're the right two to help navigate. What will at times be a rough season? We know that. It's a Collingwood, like they're a kick-off really, getting hold of Brisbane. Everyone's writing them off. I don't understand why. Like, I feel like the ambush is coming, and you know we'll have this docker and I'll be going, oh, how good's this? And you know they'll be ready to ambush us, but my job's to have us ready.
Yep. Yep. The flip side of that Callum Wilkie and Jack Sinclair conversation was the conversation coaches like yourself have to have with other people, Jack Steele, for instance. And I know you've spoken about this, but now that we're talking about the celebration of Callum and Jack, I mean, that would have been a tough conversation for you and him, I'd imagine.
They're always tough because, you know, there's the pragmatic and decisions and challenges and the operating environment, and then there's the personal side. So. And Jack's been on public record about how respectful everything was, and we just spoke about with what's coming in and the reality and the challenge, and then Melbourne reached out and then Jack explored it. In all honesty, like I was going into the last day of trade with no concept that Jack Steele was going to be traded. And then his management rang, he'd engaged in Melbourne, clearly Stephen King's impressive. There was an opportunity and they were clear in his role. And Jack rang me and said, I've decided to accept that. And we were like, as tough as this is, we're glad that you could land somewhere where you feel you're going to be respected and loved. We certainly respected him. But that Melbourne game was a changing of our guard and our midfield balance. Naz, Hall, Windhager. I mean, that's indisputable. And then with Flanders coming in and the emergence back of Philippa, it was going to be more challenging. Jack's good enough at his best, but his body had been... he had his 200th game total, and we saw his highlight package. And even Jack commented how his feet were quicker and shifting and dancing a little bit out of... And it just highlighted his combative nature and inside game had taken a bit of a toll. But I think he can, if he regenerates that piece, you know, they've got to steal Melbourne. But it was tough because he was loved and elected as captain. And when St Kilda needed a warrior, he was it, right? Yeah. And really respected and tough. Like.
And he was the 62nd.
Is that right number? Yeah, it's not insignificant.
Yeah. Max King, Ross, as we talk, another injury setback.
Yeah,
this one
I'll be concise on this one.
At the minor end of it.
Yeah, calf, 2-week calf. Yeah.
So 2-week calf. So
he'll play football this year.
He will.
The challenge has been he did a full pre-season the last year. Anyway, he turned, knee, come off, clunking. That took a long way. They couldn't identify what was moving. In the end, it was a bit of cartilage that was torn. They were slipping out, slipping back in. So then the decision was the conservative to repair it for his long-term health. The aggressive would have been section it out and go, and he would have probably played 15 games last year.
Okay.
So that's 4 months of repair, and then, so then it's a slow rebuild, gets to full training virtually, and then it tears. You have to section it out and start again. But from there, we expect no interruption. except a bit of a grungy knee, right? That's everywhere. So you just manage that a little bit. And unfortunately, because of all that deload, as you're bringing him on, there's a slight, it's not unexpected he'll have a soft tissue. It's a slight calf. So he was aiming for round 0 or 1. We think it's round 4. But then from there we make a decision. Is it VFL, AFL? Because he's missed a lot of work. But we can set him up to succeed, not fail, how we position him. You know.
Yeah. You've referenced already, without me asking you about this opening round of game against Collingwood, it's obviously exciting for everyone, including yourself. It's the start of, I'm dubbing it phase 2 anyway, for what it's worth, of the Ross Lyon second stint as...
Well, I don't think it's about me. I was really conscious that for a whole host of different reasons in Fremantle, the persona and what sort of team we become and how I went and all that, it was too much. And I think it was 200 media appearances a year. It was like 160. It was like, but here it's really been collaborate, delegate, expose everyone. And I think it's St Kilda, the club. It's like Manchester United, the club. I don't think it's about Naz. I don't think it's about me. It really is about St Kilda and its people in the club. And we want the club to rise. So for me, I want to improve. My reflection piece is let's improve. I've got Corey Henright, head of strategy game development. I got giving him a clear runway. I didn't probably give him as clear a runway working with the other assistants. So it's really quite clear. We've got a Lenny that has incredible operational support with Chris Ford. And Lenny...
Your eyes still light up when you say Lenny.
Well,
Ross?
only because like his people side, and you can talk about reporting lines and organisational charts, but it doesn't matter because it's how you act and the trust people, his ability to carry trust and have strength and opinion. Why I really want it, because we had no one, when it's a bit rough for me, to lean in and support or challenge me. So his footy stuff, as Andrew said, if we point him when he says about your coaching and that, I'll say, oh, piss off. Like, if Lenny says, I said, I'll listen. So I feel like I have someone in need of a tough time or someone that can balance me and give me feedback and get to our people. The thought that there's a GM that's a unicorn, sports science, people, coaching, list management, that person doesn't exist. But we feel between the three of us, we cover a lot. But basically I'm just coaching, working with Gubby and Sauce really closely and Simon Dalrymple and Carl Delena and the president.
Yep. I'll make this the last one. Can you've made grand finals. It has, and I appreciate it. You always do. Can you make the grand final in 2026?
You're quite funny, Damo. Ring, what is it? When you're in trouble, get Carboni on the phone.
Well, you've been there before. You know what it takes.
You can't play
You've done it at
finals.
2 footy clubs.
You can't play in finals. This is all I know. When I come into St Kilda, I was like, win a premiership, must win games, must win 4 points. All we did is lose. We shifted to possibility mindset, let go of results, model what great teams do, how they train, how they play, how they compete.
Give yourself a chance.
We blink, we're playing finals, prelim, grand finals. Go to the Dockers, let go of results. Here's what great teams, how they train and play and prepare. Anywhere, anytime, anyone. Top 4 finishes, prelims, grand final. Walk in here, don't worry about results. Here's what you need to do. Here, commit to review. And results are an outcome of great processes. And clearly we need individually and collectively, players, coaches, everyone in the club, improve and get better every day, because we're chasing like back-to-back premiers who got some star young players who are tough. And then, you know, a jilted Geelong, you know, a Pies. I think they're being written off unfairly, let alone
you haven't mentioned
Dockers who are a 9-year rebuild.
And the Nepo baby as well. You haven't mentioned them yet.
Yeah, they're the Gold Coast.
I didn't have time
That's
to...
just a throwaway line.
Well, they're going to be there as
Did
well.
that land?
That landed.
Where we play them? We got the Nepo Cup, pre-season Thursday. Yeah, that was with that was just a throwaway line. Yeah. They've worked really hard and really to leverage the operating platform. So all credit to them.
I do appreciate your time.
No, that's easy.
And thanks as always on AFL.
No, thanks, David.
.com.au.
Appreciate it.